What do you do? You're not an engineer. You're not a designer. You can't put a hammer to a nail. I built the circuit board. The graphical interface was stolen. So how come 10 times in a day I read Steve Jobs is a genius? What do you do? Musicians play the instruments. I play the orchestra. How's it going, everyone? I'm Daniel Rodriguez, aka Big D. It's time to review another movie. This time it is the latest movie to be directed by Danny Boyle. This is based on Steve Jobs, of course. Steve Jobs in this movie is not played by Ashton Kutcher, it's played by Michael Fassbender, obviously Magneto from X-Men, and thinking about Fassbender or Steve Jobs, you're kind of like, what? Trust me, in this movie, I haven't seen the Ashton Kutcher version. I know it's on Netflix, I haven't seen it yet, but dude, Fassbender, a perfect choice. Seth Rogen's in this movie, plays Steve Wozniak. Jeff Daniels is in this movie, recently just came out in The Martian a few weeks ago, and the beautiful and talented Kate Winslet is in this movie as well. So, here we go, guys. This is my non-spoiler review. I'm just going to give you my pros and cons, and tell you, and my final score, and tell you whether or not you guys should go check this out in theaters or wait for DVD, rental, etc., etc. This is my non-spoiler review for Steve Jobs. Fun fact, this movie has an estimated budget of $30 million. Let's get right to it, guys. First off, I want to get started with the pros and talk about all the great things about this movie. First off, walking out of this movie, I could just say the acting. Danny Boyle and his directing, that's another pro, but just the way Danny Boyle got all the actors and the cast itself, it's 4 main cast members, but each of them put their all into it. And I know what you're thinking, Seth Rogen, and people laughed when Seth Rogen was on screen in my theater. I was like, just wait. He'll show you all that he could do. Some drama in there and something, and he did. He was awesome in there. Everyone was awesome. Fassbender, Winslet, Daniels, Rogen, they all freaking either had an emotional they tugged at your heart, or they could be relatable, or just any of them. Their acting is just phenomenal in here, and I hope that each and every one of them get a nomination for an Oscar. I don't think that the chances of all 4 of them or any of them winning an Oscar, but I do think that they should get recognition for everything they did. Rogen may an Oscar, maybe not, but no chance he's going to win, but for sure a nomination would at least come to hand for his role in here. It wasn't really in there a lot, but for sure Fassbender nomination for sure. I don't see any other way why he wouldn't get a nomination. He deserves a nomination for this. The acting here is phenomenal. The directing in here, man. Danny Boyle's directing is great. He has some amazing shots. Also, the way how he goes from and I actually had to look this up, 16 millimeter, and then he goes to like 30 millimeter. Like he extends from. There's 3 time periods. I'm not gonna spoil nothing, but there's the 1984 when he's doing the Macintosh, the 1988 when he's doing another brand, and then he's another computer, and then he's doing 1998 for the iMac. So there's only 3 basically conferences that you're at in this movie. And just the directing and the crowds and the way that they do it in the backstage, behind the scenes, it's just really, really great, man. Just it shows you, and you kind of feel like, oh, so if you were Steve Jobs, this is how it would feel behind the scenes and everything, and how hard of a dick he was. And this is not a 100% accurate movie. It's not really that accurate at all. Yeah, maybe Steve Jobs, he probably was a dick in real life, but not as a total dick as in this movie. And I'm not saying that as a bad way. I'm not saying that they're trying to make Steve Jobs a villain in this movie. He's just, the way that he was, he was hardcore, to the least. And he's not a fun guy to work with, but he is a master and a god for his time and his role. Very intense, man. A very, very intense movie. I do have to say so myself. Michael Fassbender knocked it out of the ballpark. I just gotta say, another fantastic role. I can't wait to see Macbeth really soon, because this guy, he's just on a roll. I haven't seen one bad performance from Michael Fassbender. Every performance. I haven't seen Frank yet, but I gotta see. It's also on Netflix. I don't think Michael Fassbender could do any wrong. He did justice to Steve Jobs for sure, even the looks. Now, he doesn't look exactly like Steve Jobs. Ashton Kutcher totally looks more like Steve Jobs, 100% more. But still, Michael Fassbender and well, the universe was created 1/3 of that. Well, someday you're going to have to tell us how you did that. I need you to fix this. I can't fix it. You really want me to fix it? Yeah. Just the way that the voice is, man. Definitely the voice. Yeah. Just the way Michael Fassbender always does that was really nice. Kate Winslet, she was fantastic. It actually took me a while to actually find out that was Kate Winslet when she had the wig and everything. Like, it looked really good on her. I was like, damn, that's her, like, under makeup and everything. I was like, oh, that's Kate Winslet, dude. So she really, really stole the spotlight as well in her scenes, man. She was really cool. Seth Rogen also did a fantastic job as well. Jeff Daniels, fantastic job. Everyone did a fantastic job. The crowds, again, I told you, Danny Boyle, the way he controls them and the way that he showed them. And there's actually the extras, and then when they were filming and everything, and I think they were like fans of Michael Fassbender and everything. It was really awesome, man. It was really cool to see that. Again, the behind the scenes and the long scenes, because the opening scene is literally 15-20 minutes long. I think it's about 20 minutes long, that opening scene, where it's sort of continuous, almost like Birdman. Not one continuous shot, but it literally is that type of style where it's just a continuous scene, and he's from the stage to the back and to the front of the stage again to the back, and it's just one of those where there's like 12 or 13 scenes in here where it's just a long scene where it's more than 10-15 minutes, and that's a great feeling. I love when they're like that. And now either the pacing's good or the pacing's bad, and the pacing wasn't that bad for this movie. Honestly, yeah, there are some times where it feels like it's getting really slow, but it does pick up after a while. The old camera, like I said, the 80s had the 16 millimeter, and then it felt like the 80s type of version. Like the screen was all like a little like those like the little dot thingies going around, and then it went to crystal clear like HD sort of thing, where it went digital, I guess you could call it. So I love the way how it went to that, dude. I love how it transformed from 1998 to go in digital into the 80s, having it all like blurry-ish, and not blurry, but like it went differently for sure. So I really do love that as well. The dialogue, this is amazing dialogue in here. This story is basically dialogue driven, and the actors even make it 10 times better, and the music and the score makes it 10 times better as well. So it all works out very well. Steve Jobs' daughter in the movie, her name is Lisa, and the daughter, like when she was young, definitely for sure she was a really good actor, dude. She actually got you tugged at your heartstrings, and the other one was good too. Nothing wrong with that. Steve Jobs' daughter for sure is a very interesting character, but we don't get to see much of her in this, so it's kind of very emotional. I didn't drop really tears in this movie, but 2 or 3 times where I wanted to cry, just from Seth Rogen's monologue in here. Fantastic monologue, by the way. Very dark, very, very dark movie, so you don't go into this movie thinking, I'm ready to see some gun blazing action, ready to see a comedy, a Will Ferrell comedy. Oh shit. Like, damn, it's very dark. It's a very dark movie. So, this ain't nothing, like, it's not a movie that you could just go and it's a very dark, intense movie about Steve Jobs, and it's fictional. It's not like really non-fictional. Not everything's accurate in this movie, so don't be thinking Steve Jobs is the worst man alive. He doesn't deserve to be praised. That's your decision and option, man. But still, just don't take everything. They also Hollywoodize it. So the cons of this movie, man, how repetitive it gets. It does get seriously repetitive at times, I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to spoil what happens, but just, if you cut from 1984 as the first act, 1988 the second act, 1998 the third act, it just repeats itself, and it's repetitive over and over and over again over those 3 arcs, or the 3 acts. It just gets repetitive at a time. And I'm not saying it's a bad movie just because of that. I mean, the acting is still amazing, the writing is still amazing at times, where the dialogue is just perfect. It just gets repetitive at times where it's like, you need to go to school. You need to go to school. You should be at school. Yeah, you're going to school. And I'm like, oh, like you were rolling your eyes. Seriously, it does get very repetitive. They don't really dig into the flashbacks like when he was in the garage making Apple and everything, which, again, I haven't seen the other jobs, and they did a little bit more of that, I heard. And I wanted to see a little bit of that because the way that his long hair was, Fassbender and everything, was really awesome and interesting, and we never just really got to dig into that, so I was kind of really disappointed in that one. It loses you at times. 2 or 3 times this movie lost me for like a minute or so, where the dialogue was so freaking intense, where you just, and then there's other dialogue building in there, and then it kind of just loses you. You're like, whoa, hold on, slow down, I'm trying to understand what you're saying. And then you got someone's phone ringing to the side, like, wow, what's going on? It loses you at a time, dude. Seth Rogen, His look never changes. Let me tell you, by 1998, Steve Jobs already had like the losing hair and it was already white and gray. Steve Wozniak still has the same look from '84. He has that same, no gray, no nothing. I'm like, is that real? Does Steve Wozniak never get gray hair at it in the 90s? Are you kidding me? Like, he looks the same from the 80s, wearing the same shit. I'm seriously like, Seth Rogen's style never changed, or not style, but never, his look never changed. What happened? Is that, why didn't he change, like, get a little grayer? You could have just made it a little bit like that. I don't know why they didn't do that. Also, the third act was a little slower. The pacing, yeah, it was a little slower. But I enjoy the first two acts more than the third act, because the 1998 one wasn't as interesting as the other two. I just felt like the 1998 really dragged on for like 30-40 minutes, and it didn't feel necessary to make it 40 minutes. I felt like they added so many things in there where, again, not repetitive. Same journalist guy coming. This is off the record. It get repetitive at a time, honestly. So you're kind of like watching the same stuff, but at a different conference. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, what did I think about Steve Jobs? Well, I'm going to give it an 8.8 out of a 10. That equals a B+. It's a really good movie, guys. It's not a great movie. It's not like the greatest movie of the year. But it definitely is, and it definitely will be. If my top 10 movies, it will definitely be on that top 10, because this is one of my most anticipated movies of the year. Is it worth watching? Yes, it is worth watching in general, but in theaters, well, I would have to say that to support it, yeah, see it in theaters, man. But it could wait for DVD as well. It could wait for rental. You know, it's a 2-hour movie, and you know, you might lose yourself in the theater, so you may just want to watch it actually at home. But for sure, the acting itself and everything, and you heard the pros, you heard the cons. It is great moments, very great moments in the movie. But in general, in a whole, it's a really good movie. For sure. Really enjoyed myself during this, and definitely I wasn't disappointed as much, only like a few things disappointed really. But other than that, I really enjoyed myself, and I'm glad Michael Fassbender really worked out. I'm glad it wasn't a disappointment as much. It wasn't a failure. Hopefully, go support it. This is definitely a movie. I paid $8 to see it. I think it's worth the $8 because I haven't seen The Last Witch Hunter. I'm not seeing it until tomorrow. I haven't seen Rock the Casbah. There could be great movies, man. But this is a movie that really deserves that support. That really could be an Oscar nominated movie. Like, seriously, support the movie. Go check it out. Check it out, guys. Seriously, Steve Jobs is worth watching in theaters. An 8.8 out of a 10. Guys, remember, it's a very good movie. B+. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully all of you enjoyed. I'll see you all for the next one. And may the Spock be with you always.